Hello and welcome to News Centre. I'm Parikshit Luthra. The nomination filing deadline for the Maharashtra Assembly election officially comes to an end this evening. However, the suspense over seat sharing across both camps continues. From BJP leaders contesting on a Sena ticket to leaders switching camps in the 11th hour to last-minute changes in candidates. Maharashtra election season continues to be an unpredictable one as ever. As expected, the BJP is contesting over 50% of the seats, leaving the remaining for its allies, the Shiv Sena and Ajit Pawar's NCP. Congress has clearly emerged as a big brother when it comes to ticket distribution in the opposition camp. Remember, Congress had the highest seat tally in the state in the Lok Sabha election. Uddhav Thackay's Shiv Sena and Sharad Pawar's NCP are contesting an equal number of seats. From what we know so far, talks are still on for a couple of seats. Joining us right now to discuss the seat sharing in Maharashtra and the trouble within the two camps are senior journalists Ninad Seth and Sanjay Jog. Sanjay Jog, if I can begin with you. Clearly, all is not well in the BJP camp. There are rebels. There are people who have gotten angry, like Gopal Shetty, who feel that outsiders have been planted to fight elections. Then you've got Ajit Pawar, NCP, who have gone ahead and nominated Nawab Malik for a certain seat despite opposition from the BJP. Things are not looking very good, and it seems that the BJP is trying to keep the flock together. What's your view?
100%. Parikshit, initially when the talks were on, both sides were claiming that they will be able to arrive at seat sharing before Diwali or before Dasara. Nothing happened. Till today, there are about 10 to 18 seats on which both the sides are locked in on in a hard negotiation. Of course, there have been sent messages from both the camps to file the nomination, being today is the last day. Very interestingly, as usual, BJP has stolen the show in the sense as they would like to be projected themselves as a big brother. So they have got about 148 seats. The candidates they have officially announced, and 4 they have allocated to smaller parties which they claim as an allies. So total is about 152 by BJP. Then comes basically Shiv Sena. Mr. Eknath Shinde was not at all ready to get below 80 seats. So he has stuck to his guns and he has managed to get about 80 odd seats. So also, Ajit Pawar, like he started with 90 seats, but now zeroed down below that because there was no other hope but to sacrifice himself, and he has managed to get about 51 seats. Same scenario continues with basically the Maha Agadi. There was much of enthusiasm after Maha Agadi backed 30 odd seats in Lok Sabha elections, and as it the talk within the Maha Agadi was that it is just a kind of a formal, just a mere formality to elections to take place, and they are going to swear in, but nothing happened. There have been so many contradictions, particularly between the Congress and the Shiv Sena, but ultimately Congress has stuck to its guns and managed to emerge as a big brother. So they have got about 103 odd seats. Then comes, of course, Shiv Sena, around 85 seats, right. And so also 83 seats by Sharad Pawar led basically NCP. Just to put you in perspective, both are definitely quite desperate to get the power. Mahayuti is going much of on the development cards with that 1 lakh crore freebies. On the other hand, Maha Agadi is definitely there to checkmate about the issue of corruption, the splashing of money at the cost of the fiscal management and prudence. And there are a couple of inside stories which are emerging about the contradictions within.
All right, let me go across to Ninad Seth. Ninad Seth, Ashish Shelar of the BJP was very clear that they do not want Nawab Malik to be contesting on a ticket from the alliance. Now, Ajit Pawar's NCP has gone ahead and nominated him. Why do you think this has happened despite opposition from the BJP? And what does this show in terms of the consensus and both the allies, the Ajit Pawar NCP faction and the BJP being on the same page, and also the Shinde Sena?
See, Parikshit, what it shows is the following. This is a very sad perversion, actually, of the democratic process. Here we have 40 or 60 families which are coming together and fighting for their own power, masquerading as political parties. And therefore, you are seeing all these kind of shifts and shifting sand and shifting people just before the elections. This is not a dance of democracy, but democratic warlords, if you like, going to war. And here the most interesting thing is the death of ideology. And like you said, in any ordinary circumstance, BJP would have had a very big problem with Nawab Malik's nomination. But since ideology is taking a backseat for political convenience and what I personally perceive as family fiefdoms fighting as an aggregate masquerading as political party, Maharashtra becomes very, very odd in that sense for Indian democracy. Having said that, there's an irony, I think, which is under play here. When the two camps fight, if you like, on the battlefield, the two weaklings, the Ajit Pawar NCP in the ruling alliance and the NCP in the opposition alliance, how badly they perform respectively will probably determine the outcome. One interesting other thing I would like to say is that there is, if you were on the ground, which I was, last week in Maharashtra, the RSS, ironically, in a fight where ideology is taking a backseat, is becoming very active and could be very interesting for BJP going forward.
Right. Let me go back to Sanjay Jog. Sanjay Jog, if we speak about the Congress, today Nana Patole, the chief of the Maharashtra Congress, went on record to diffuse some tensions. He was responding to questions about trouble between the Congress and the Uddhav Thackeray Sena. Are there real signs of trouble between the two allies? We've also seen Congress replacing candidates at least 3 times in Maharashtra.
Absolutely, Parikshit. Since the talks had begun, the initial problem was just restricted to Congress and Uddhav Thackeray Shiv Sena. NCP, led by Sharad Pawar, had no issue. They had also clarified that they are not at all interested in the chief minister's post, but the real, kind of tug of war which was going on was between Congress and Uddhav Thackeray Shiv Sena, which continued even yesterday. Yesterday also, Nana Patole had to tell officially on record to Sanjay Raut that if we are going to fight and we are fighting against Mahayuti, so there needs to be some kind of, a cohesive approach. So let's discuss and arrive at a kind of a formula which will be acceptable to both. This is very quite interesting, which is happening in Mahavikas Aghadi. Congress initially went on, announcing a couple of seats, but they had to backtrack because of a strong opposition from local Karyakartas. Today also in Nashik, more than 65 office bearers have just now resigned, protesting against one of the nominees, which was, announced in the list. So also in Shiv Sena, Uddhav Thackeray had to take a serious note and just simply remove 3 of its district unit chief because of a likelihood of a rebellion and intra-party feud. So I think all is not well in Mahavikas Aghadi, so also in Mahayuti. Look at Gopal Shetty, a 2-time MP, basically a very, quite a sensitive and alert kind of a representative of people. He was denied the Lok Sabha seat for Piyush Goyal. He sat quiet after Devendra Fadnavis pacified him. This time round, he was quite interested. He had a series of meetings saying that he is definitely like to contest from Borivali, but which was denied. And that's why he came out very angrily that Borivali is not the Dharamshala where anyone can come and fight the election. So also with Atul Shah,
right.
I've seen him, working with Gopinath Munde, Pramod Mahajan, Jayanti Ben Mehta. He is a resident of Mumbai Devi. He also took an objection saying that election is not like a musical chair. So I think there is a rebellion which is growing despite Amit Shah during the last week meeting, the 3 of the leaders had held with him in Delhi has categorically said, please focus on major thing that there should not be any rebellion, basically to puncture the prospect. And I think both the sides definitely going to have a tough time to cool down because 4th is the, a withdrawal day for the nominations.
All right. Let me go across now to Ninad Seth. Ninad, if we were to ask you, who do you think holds the edge at this point? Clearly, there is some trouble in both the camps, both the alliances, which are fighting for the Maharashtra Assembly election. Who do you think has a bigger advantage at this point?
I think that BJP has been smart in terms of its coalition. It has given more seats than one expected to some of the coalition partners. If the coalition post the election stays intact, that will give BJP a greater, more flexible, political space. A. B. The Maratha vote, which has gone away from the BJP during Lok Sabha, it will be interesting to see whether the outreach by the RSS and the others brings that vote back to the BJP or part of that vote back to the BJP, or does BJP do a radical Haryana kind of coalition of castes where the number of other castes, the OBCs, come together to marginalize or make less relevant the Maratha vote. At the minute, I would still say that if you add Prime Minister Modi's residual charisma, which you can never, in my opinion, underestimate in any election, then currently the BJP coalition seems to have the upper hand.
So you're saying the BJP coalition has the upper hand, and we have been seeing Amit Shah hold direct meetings with Devendra Fadnavis, with Eknath Shinde and Ajit Pawar as well. Sanjay Jog, what do you think? Do you think BJP, Amit Shah, the Prime Minister, will be able to quell all rebellion within the party ranks? We had also seen the Maha Yuti attaining a low tally in the Lok Sabha elections. Something that doesn't augur well. But since then, we've seen them working hard in Haryana. We've seen the RSS also coming together. Do you think putting all of the organizational might of the BJP and the RSS, the BJP would have an edge in this election, or the Congress?
Parikshit, I will not say BJP has got an edge, but certainly RSS and its parivar, there are a couple of organizations, I count about 36 odd. They are already, in fact, are on an action mode, working from, in Maharashtra, there are a lack of booths. So the RSS entire network is, integrated with the local leadership of the BJP, working quite hard, learning lessons from the Lok Sabha debacle. And, they would definitely like the voters to come in a big way to support not just the BJP, but the ally. So certainly they are definitely making all effort. But, there is another point which needs to be taken into account, the OBC consolidation. OBC, that is what is known as a Madhav factor. Mali, Dhangar and Vanzari have always been a supporter of BJP. But because of the recent protests between the Marathas and the OBC, there has been a huge division and a divided kind of a house. So how BJP and the RSS Parivar try to have a kind of a Haryana, experiment in Maharashtra, that needs to be watched. And another factor is the manner in which Mr. Sharad Pawar has also tried and had gone for a micromanagement, bringing all the sections together. So also, just to tell you that Congress is basically, although maybe a kind of a divided house, Rahul Gandhi is going to come out for a 7-day long Bharat Jodo Yatra again during the election campaign. And that will be focused on basically Marathwada, 46 seats and 62 seats, which earlier used to be the Congress's bastion. But from 2014, BJP has made sufficient inroad. So, there is going to be an interesting kind of a shape-up which is happening from both sides. It will be, to be watched who will have an edge in the days to come as the campaigning picks up from 4th of November.
phone pe connect kar de aapko. Okay. Ninath Seth, my final question to you would be, what are the issues you think will really matter in the election now in the next 1 month or so?
This is a very interesting election because it is more a transactional election rather than a transformational election for India's richest state. And I think that itself is slightly sad. 3 issues stand out. There is a very long pending problem of agricultural, backwardness. I mean, there is also a lot of stress for a lot of farmers. I personally think that agricultural outreach is a very important issue. An understated issue is also the issue of creating non-agricultural, non-farm jobs. There is a perception that Gujarat and Karnataka and other states are getting those factories, whereas Maharashtra is losing out. And I think that's going to be a very important election issue in many of the constituencies. Lastly, I would say that, the inflation, especially food inflation, which we do not usually report, it's very surprising that we don't report food inflation. But food inflation, at least when I traveled last week in Maharashtra on the ground, in the rural and semi-rural places, there seemed to be some kind of an anger against food inflation. I believe that, growth, in other words, in Maharashtra is going to be one of the deciding factors. Who does the voter trust to bring growth back, to let growth be sustainable? I think it's going to be very interesting for a big industrial state like Maharashtra.
All right. On that note, we take a short break. But Ninath Seth, Sanjay Jog, thank you very much for joining us on the program on News Center, telling us what's at stake for the battle in Maharashtra. We are taking a short break right now, but when we return, we'll get you lots more news from across the country. Don't go anywhere.